Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive, and I am bringing you guys a brand new Pokemon Sword and Shield video today. This is a little bit weird because I already actually recorded the entire video and something else came out, and rather than record the entire thing again, I'll throw on the new information at the beginning. But be sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe if you guys are new, and you'll hear another intro here shortly. But they have confirmed that there are 18 gyms in the Galar region. They are going to be split between major and minor league categories. We can assume that there's probably going to be one gym for every single type of Pokemon, which is pretty massive, and they're going to change based on whether you're in Sword or Shield. So there might be like, a bug gym in one, and it's a major gym, and then it's a minor gym in the other. Very, very big. 18 gyms in Sword and Shield, and there's a ton of other stuff in this video that you guys are going to want to watch. So let's roll the rest of the video, enjoy it, and I hope you guys are excited for Sword and Shield as I am. Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. I'm bringing you guys a brand new video today regarding some Pokemon Sword and Shield information, some brand new news coming out from GameInformer, and there is some massive stuff going on in this video. So get yourselves ready to rock, hit that like button down below, subscribe if you guys are new for some awesome Pokemon Sword and Shield content. We are almost at 500,000 subscribers, so be sure to subscribe as I do have Pokemon content every single day, and our Sword and Shield stuff is gonna be on fire as we approach. We're just 1 month away, man, which is really exciting. I do have to tell you guys, I'm actually doing this live, hanging out with the Twitch homies. So, you know, we're talking about this live, and we're just like, hey, let's make a video, so let's do it. So GameInformer did an interview with, a couple of the producers of Pokemon Sword and Shield and brought us some pretty interesting stuff they're going to talk about in this video. So the first thing we're going to talk about is max raid battles. Now, you may notice from this picture here, and there's a lot in this video, so get yourselves ready to rock. Yeah, anyway, the first thing we notice is Throw has been confirmed for the game. So we know that Throw is in the game. Sock was already confirmed, so not a big surprise there. But basically they're saying, and I'm going to paraphrase some of this stuff, that max raid battles are going to be one of the hardest things that they've ever introduced into the Pokemon series. So I'll accept the cookies. So this is saying that the max raid battles were going to be cooperative battles, kind of like Pokemon Go, but the initial concept and the raid idea, it was actually designed in like kind of, in mind with Pokemon Go. They were kind of done at the same time, but they're saying you don't have to be a hardcore battler to join these raid encounters. I think some of them are going to be pretty difficult. I think it's going to have a kind of difficulty we haven't seen in a lot of the main series Pokemon games until now, but there's a widespread of difficulties even in the max raid battles. So this is basically saying that max raid battles are going to be one of the more challenging things and challenging features that we've seen in Pokemon Sword and Shield, which in my opinion is actually pretty sick. So I'm excited about that because I'm always down for more difficulty and more challenges and more opportunities to kind of throw down. The next thing that we're going to take a look at is Autosave, which again, we did know that Autosave was in the game. We knew that Autosave was in the game. I made a video about it previously, maybe a month ago, but this is also confirming that Autosave is indeed in the game. However, it will be a feature that can be turned off. So I think that's pretty cool. They talk a little bit about how it's harder to reset in this game, so they wanted to have the kind of autosave feature, but they have said that there's going to be, you can turn the feature off and stick with the traditional save method where you pause the action and manually save. I imagine that will come in handy for encounters with difficult to catch legendary Pokemon, and the process might feel a little bit different on the Switch. I think the Switch, compared to previous consoles, it's a bit harder to restart your game. Like on the NES, you have the dedicated button to reset the whole thing, but with the Switch, it's a little bit more complicated. So autosave coming to the game, that's pretty big news. Again, we kind of knew about that, but it is awesome to know that you can turn it off. That's good. Now we're getting to some even bigger stuff here. This one says that there's going to be Pokemon that are cut from the Dex, which we knew, but they're going to return in the future. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to return in Sword and Shield. However, they are going to return in the future to other main series Pokemon games and just other games in general. This goes on to talk a lot about Pokemon Home and how they've made a lot of decisions that were tough in this game to decide how they were going to approach this, but they decided that there was a lot of criteria. They wanted to fit in the region, they wanted to make sure that it was the best for competitive, all sorts of stuff like that, and also focus on some of the new Pokemon, obviously, but they said you can look forward to seeing these Pokemon in different regions in future games. I think Pokemon Home, for a lot of players, is going to serve as a launch pad to gather them all here and then embark on future adventures. So some pretty straightforward stuff there, I think, in terms of Pokemon returning. We knew that they were going to come back in some capacity, I still don't think, now that I've digested this whole national dex issue, I don't think it's that big of a deal. People are going to really be kind of focusing on the Pokemon they're going to use anyway, which most of the time is going to be new stuff. I think filtering out Ultra Beasts and some legendaries might not be a bad thing for the competitive scene. So I don't necessarily think it's that big of a deal, but definitely some interesting stuff to note. This is another big one I think a lot of people are excited about. HMs are not in Pokemon Sword and Shield. I think we could have guessed this, obviously, with Sun and Moon, and then Ultra Sun and Moon, and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. HMs have been removed from the series for a while. They were previously a very annoying feature, having to give or dedicate an entire slot on your team to an HM slave, or maybe give your starter Pokemon a move that you didn't care about, like Cut, which is really frustrating. It's annoying to remove them. They're gonna just take that out of the game. They played a role in the series traditional to be a relationship between a door and a key. The HM unlocks something and you can progress, but we didn't have that in Sun and Moon, and we didn't really think it matched the concept here, especially with the wild area. We wanted to have a higher degree of freedom. That's interesting. I'm curious how much of this game is going to be kind of open roam. You know, I think that there's going to be some sort of a linear format to Sword and Shield, but it is possible that there's a little bit more freedom. The wild area seems to give you quite a bit of freedom, and perhaps there'll be more freedom throughout the game in terms of the order in which you challenge the gyms and other things like that. I wouldn't necessarily consider this game to be open world under any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's going to be some steps in that direction and be a little less linear than what we've seen in the past in terms of Pokemon games. And I think that this quote here may give us a little bit of hints in terms of how that could be kind of constructed for the game moving forward. Kind of some cool snapshots, by the way, here of the little battle area, kind of a big house. This is probably one of the parts that I'm least excited about, and we'll talk about this, and then we'll talk about the thing I'm most excited about right after this, is that the experience share is going to be baked into Pokemon Sword and Shield. The experience share is not going to be an item that you're going to be able to just obtain and use and turn on and off at this point. It is going to be automatic, and it's going to split the experience earned in battle to all of the Pokemon in the player's party. Very much so, similar to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. According to Amori, they do away with the experience share, and it trains up a bunch of Pokemon, and they get equal experience as you progress through the game. I hope that this is something that can be turned off. It was supposed to be something that could be turned off in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. They said it in an interview when Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was coming out, and it wasn't actually in the game. However, it was in the game's coding, but it wasn't in the game. I really hope they make this something that can be turned on and off, because I don't personally like the idea of having all of your Pokemon get experience if they're not contributing in the battle. In my opinion, I just don't feel like they should get experience, or you should be able to choose if they get experience or not. So that's just my thoughts there. I don't know how you guys feel. You can leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this one, because I feel like this is probably the most controversial piece to this new information that we got today from GameInformer about Pokemon Sword and Shield. And ultimately, this is one of the downsides in my opinion. If it can be turned off, it doesn't matter, but I don't want this personally. As someone who is adept at the games, I understand how for new people it's useful, but for someone being adept, it's just not that great. Has Dugtrio been confirmed in the game? Because it is now, if it wasn't already. This is kind of a cool little area. There's like some ladders and stuff in the back. That looks kind of neat. And the last bit of information, which in my opinion is the biggest bit of information, and that is that you're going to be able to use your favorite Pokemon competitively. Now, to kind of set the landscape for this, for those who aren't competitively adept, generally getting competitive Pokemon was kind of tricky. You had to basically train up a Pokemon. You had to get the right IVs. You had to get the right EVs. You had to get the right nature. Had to get egg moves and all this other stuff. And a lot of those things can't be changed. Yeah, you can change the EVs on a Pokemon. Yeah, you can bottle cap a Pokemon to get better IVs. Yeah, you can use move tutors and things like that a lot of the time to get most of the moves. You can use ability capsules to change some abilities outside of hidden abilities, but you couldn't change natures. And this is massive. And they have basically said that they're going to make some big strides in Sword and Shield for competitive Pokemon, which is huge, because the easier it is to obtain competitive Pokemon, the less likely people are to cheat. That's it. If people have easy ways to get competitive Pokemon, more people are going to play competitive, less people are going to cheat. It's going to make shiny hunting feel way more rewarding. It's going to there's going to be so many features in that are good. And I've always said, if it was up to me, I would remove, if I could choose, I'd remove hacking from all the Pokemon games entirely and put everyone on the even playing field. But the tools exist, people use them, and I can't say I blame people for using them now, because sometimes competitive Pokemon are so challenging to obtain, and a competitive match should not be about obtaining the Pokemon, it should be about the battle itself. And it seems like they are going to make some big strides for that. So The quote here is, traditionally in the series, you start off with your starter, you catch a whole lot of Pokemon in the beginning, and those are the ones that are with you throughout your whole adventure. The player gets attached to them. But a lot of times, they get into the competitive battles, and they find they can't actually use those Pokemon, or they're not competitive. So they have to go out and find the exact right Pokemon, or breed them, and whatever it may be. This time around, we wanted to introduce some systems that help the player take those Pokemon they caught in the beginning, the first one they chose, their starter, Scorbunny, Sobble, Grookey, actually take them straight into battle. There's a lot of hidden parameters to Pokemon that aren't surfaced to the player. We're doing a lot of stuff in the back end, introducing systems that allow players to make sure that the Pokemon they want to use in competitive are viable. When I asked WoW for more details, he can't explain it further, but he goes on to say, I've got to be very vague, but one example, it will be visible to the player and they'll know when they see it. All right, this is big, this is big. I'm just checking my phone here. Ghost type Pokemon tweeted, oh, it's a Mimikyu fact. I thought it was gonna be something new. It will be visible to the player and they'll know when they see it. Say you have a Pokemon where it's got all the right stats and everything, but there's a personality parameter, which I'm assuming he's meaning natures, as well, that comes into play in battles, and it might not be the right personality or nature. So you breed until you get the right one. As that's what people do currently, but you'll see that there's a system in the game that will fix that for people. You can change the nature of your Pokemon in Sword and Shield. That is massive. That is massive. They do go on to say that there's value in breeding. Breeding is going to be a part of it, but they want to have a system that makes it a little bit more accessible, and you'll be able to use Pokemon from previous games and maybe customize their natures and things like that a little bit more, which I think is super duper epic, and this is massive. This is one of the best things they could have announced for Pokemon Sword and Shield. It was pretty clear that heading into the Galar region, there was going to be a big emphasis on competitive Pokemon. This is huge for competitive, this is massive for competitive, and this is exactly what Pokemon needs to move forward and actually make competitive Pokemon something bigger than what it has been in the past. So I am all for this. Let me know your thoughts on all these new updates. Let me just make sure that there's nothing new from GameInformer. I think that was all of their coverage. I'll do a quick refresh here and see if they had any extra coverage, but that seems to be everything that we're going to get from GameInformer for this update. And I'm, for one, am very excited. Be sure to hit that like button down below. Make sure you guys subscribe and let me know your thoughts. Shouts to my Twitch audience, by the way, for hanging out with me as I recorded this. And I'm excited, man. Sword and Shield, a month away, man. We're talking about it. 45 days. That's what I'm talking about. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.